What is up, guys? It is AJ, and we are breaking down PFL 2021 number 8, the second event of the playoffs. Looking forward to talking more about this one. This after the weigh-ins. I've seen the fighters face off, how they looked on the scales. We also have some matchup changes as well, which we have to bring to light here. Look forward to breaking it down. Once again, make sure you guys smash that like button with this weigh-in recap. I'd like to get at least 75 likes. So make sure you smash that like and subscribe if you're new here too. We're covering PFL for another time this week to give you these final predictions before the event, which at the time of the recording will be tomorrow. This might be a fight day watch for some of you guys. But let's talk about the first fight of the night, Christian Lohsen and Jonas Flok. So they both faced off, and you know, neither has an extremely muscular frame, pretty, average builds. Fit-wise, though, they look good, not carrying too much excess fat, but that doesn't really matter as far as this fight goes. I think that height advantage for Christian Lohsen is going to be a factor against Jonas Flok here. Flok's known for his wrestling, which is pretty good, as is Christian Lohsen. His jiu-jitsu game is solid as well. I do think that this is going to be Lohsen's fight here, and with the size advantage, it makes me like it more. I think it's a lot of grappling, maybe some defensive grappling on display for Lohsen. Will create space and strike a bit. But I think that either man could end up on top. But overall, I think the superior fighter is Lohsen. Having the size advantage by a fair amount, I think, is a big factor. And also being the younger fighter of the two. So I'll ride Christian Lohsen, who is an underdog here against Jonas Flok, sitting at that plus 110 range, plus 115 at best value. Jonas Flok, a minus 120 favorite. If you're going to prop it up, personally, I'd say like that over 1.5 rounds is a safer play. I do think it's likely this fight goes distance, but I won't be betting on it. If I wasn't to bet it, I would just go straight bet Christian Lohsen. Win by a decision, though, is the likely outcome that I see for him here. Let's keep on moving up the card. Second fight of the night, Miranda Barber versus Adam Leve. They faced off. Similar frames-wise. Now, as far as the face-off went, I like the slight height advantage for Leve. Granted, I don't think that'll be, the biggest factor here. I think that Leve's ground game is going to be a factor. I think she's going to be dealing with a girl in Barber who's, boxed as a professional, so she is confident in her hands, at least enough so to take pro bouts, 1 and 2 records. So not great, not a ton of experience, but still out there boxing. Leve will probably find a way to get this fight to the floor. I think from there, she'll work her submission. She should win this bout by a submission. I'm thinking second round sub, Amanda Leve in this matchup. As far as odds-wise, Leve, big favorite, minus 275 at best value. Barber at best value, plus 300. Potential submission prop bet, Leve sub. What's that sitting at? They not have a Leve submission prop? They have Leve inside the distance, but they don't have a Leve submission prop. That's interesting, because I think she's going to win by submission here, but the prop's not available. If it does come available, I would bet it down. I think that's a very likely outcome here. So win for Amanda Leve, but dangerous bet because it's low-level women's MMA action. I mean, one has 2 fights, the other's making her pro debut. Next fight, is it Kaitlin Young versus Marina Mokhnatkina? I think they switched this fight. Kaitlin Young now will actually be taking on a different matchup against Claudia Zamora. So it's Kaitlin Young, Claudia Zamora. Tapology has not brought this to light just yet. Matchup-wise, how do I feel it's going to go down? Well, with Mariana, I prefer her style over Zamora, also experience-wise too. I think that the striking advantage, though, is definitely Mariana has more pro bouts and a higher level of professional fights. I mean, she is a veteran of Bellator, has a few fights over there and a win in her last one there. I feel like she should be able to beat the a lot less experienced Zamora. Let's see if the odds are up yet for this one, because we have the fight, but I don't know if we have the odds here. Larissa Pacheco, that one's off. There's some last-minute changes to this card. Claudia Zamora, Mariana Morais. No, there's no odds for this one either. Yeah, we're catching it like right as it came out, but it is confirmed, and they did face off here. With Claudia Zamora, though, I feel as though the inexperience will be a big factor in this matchup. I think that victory for Mariana is highly likely in this fight. But let's keep on moving up the card. Unfortunately, no odds for that one yet, but I do expect Mariana to be a fair size favorite. All right, next one is Carl Seumanutafa and DeReese. Now, Carl Seumanutafa is a power puncher. He has a very good chin, extremely durable guy. DeReese is going to be looking for the knockout without a doubt here, I would say, in this matchup. Funny, the odds have shifted. DeReese opened as a favorite. He's now sitting as a dog. You can find Seumanutafa at -115. DeReese +118. Near Pick'em's fight now. Slight favorite status towards Seumanutafa. I think he's winning by KO here over DeReese. As far as the bet, Seumanutafa is at a distance +120. They don't have the knockout prop. We'll see if they drop one, on fight day. I guess potentially will be there. I think Seumanutafa is going to sleep DeReese in this matchup. I do think he does it in the first round. DeReese has been knocked out in back-to-back fights. Like, it's not looking good for him. The featured prelim, Renan Ferreira versus Stuart Aston. Now, big size advantage for Renan Ferreira here. I think that his striking will definitely be on display from range. Austin should probably look to potentially get this fight to the floor. But that's where he falls into even more trouble because Ferreira's a beast on top. He unloads ground and pound. You saw what he did to Fabricio, and Fabricio is truly maybe the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner in heavyweight mixed martial arts history, I would say. You have to respect Ferreira's top game. If he gets on top, it's going to be deadly. I think he fights well from range. I think he dominates. I think Ferreira gets a KO TKO. I think it's probably in the first round here with ferocious ground and pound. And keep an eye on Ferreira for next year's playoffs. But unfortunately, not going to be there this year unless maybe some crazy injury happened. But we won't see him yet until next year as far as that $1 million chance. Ferreira -360 favorite. Austin +373 dog. It's Ferreira all day for me. I don't think this fight's all that competitive. And if Ferreira wins side of distance, -165. Ferreira KO TKO, -115. I think the KO TKO is not bad. I think round one, that's +150. Potential sprinkle there. But Ferreira, definitely a lock play on my end. All right, let's keep moving up the card. Denis Goltsov and Ante Delija. With Ante Delija, pretty athletic fighter, good straight punches down the line, tricky wrestling game, heavy on top. But Denis Goltsov is a lot more technical with his kickboxing. I think grappling-wise, they're on a similar level. If not, Goltsov might even be better. I feel that Delija's game sometimes revolves around his explosiveness and athleticism, as a pretty quick heavyweight, I guess you could say, and a strong one too. But I think the technical game of Goltsov is going to be a problem here. I think he works towards maybe a late KO, TKO, or a decision. It's not an easy fight. These guys are also the same height. And I know you look at Delija, he got knocked out by Cappelozza. Goltsov, though, very different style than Cappelozza. He's not just going to explode on you in 20 seconds. He's going to fight from range. He's going to pick his shots. And I think Goltsov wins this fight by a unanimous decision. So we will ride Denis Goltsov here. As far as odds, he is a pretty big favorite. -255 to +252 at best value for Delija. Let's see what we can get. Over 1.5, -125. Okay. Goltsov wins inside the distance, -150. Goltsov wins by KO TKO, +115. Goltsov wins by decision, +290. Might be potential for that. But I do fear that Delija could be knocked out in this fight. But the pick is definitely Goltsov in this matchup. Now, women's bout has been shifted. This one, Tapology has up the matchup. It's Taylor Guardado, Marina Morais now, rather than Larissa Pacheco. She misses weight. She's out of the playoffs. Mariana steps in. If she wins here, she'll probably have to rematch Kayla Harrison, and that fight was not good for her. Pacheco was really the only potential test outside of Harrison's fight, on the card, this event, that could maybe challenge her. Pacheco out now. Guardado, Morais. For interest in new matchups, I would just rather see Guardado win it, but it's unlikely she does so. I think Morais is definitely the more dynamic with her strikes, a lot more explosive, rushes into range with flurries, fights decently well also inside of the clinch. She's very physically strong, and I think that's a factor because Guardado's a tricky wrestler, but extremely inexperienced, man. As far as professional bouts, 17-11 versus 2-1. Experience is a serious factor in the fight game. I think Mariana wins this bout. Method of victory, I really lean towards decision for here, unanimous, but could potentially see a KO, TKO. It's women's MMA, so it is tricky, but I think a lot of control in favor of Mariana here, and I think she edges out Taylor Guardado fairly clean and dominantly, to be honest with you guys. Guardado, let's see if the odds are on best fight odds. We're digging deep for these odds now. All right. Claudia Zamora, Marina Morais off. Mariana Morais. They don't have it yet. It's definitely going to be in favor of Morais. But how substantially? Well, if Pacheco was minus 600, I could see minus 300. And that's not a terrible value, especially if you're parlaying it. So be watchful of this odds to drop for the Guardado and Morais fight, because I definitely think it's a favorable play for Morais on a parlay potentially. Now let's jump to that co-main event of the evening. It is Bruno Cappelozza versus Jamelle Jones. This is a great fight. It's one that I cannot wait for. Jamelle Jones is a beast of a wrestler, heavy top pressure, intense ground and pound, quickly won his last fight against a man who was in the UFC and Kaitlin Young, and also Cappelozza also has a win over Abreu as well, but not as impressive as Jones. Jones ran right through him. Granted, that was a potentially out of prime Abreu, but no excuses for Abreu, and no doubt to Jones. He is a phenomenal ground and pound fighter. But on the other side, you have a dynamic and explosive striker with good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Fast hips. He's not the biggest heavyweight. He actually is more built for light heavyweight, but the bigger end of that. 6'2", 233, 6 foot, 245. The range advantage for Cappelozza should help him to fend off some of these takedowns. I think that he might get taken down, but he will find a way back up. His jiu-jitsu is good. I don't think Jones just runs right over him here. I think Cappelozza gets a knockout win, and I think it is in the first round, and he's going to sleep Jamelle Jones in impressive fashion. Cappelozza minus 200 favorite, Jones plus 188 dog. I like Cappelozza KO, TKO. Let's see what that's at. Cappelozza KO, TKO. Minus 160. Not great value. But I think he does win it by KO, TKO over Jamelle Jones here. Main event of the evening. If you guys have not yet, smash the hell out of that like button. And let's talk about Kayla Harrison versus Genah Fabian. You know, Genah Fabian physically is a match for Kayla. She's taller, longer, in fantastic shape. I mean, she has a 74-inch reach as well, which is huge for women's MMA. Her opponent just a 66-inch reach. That range advantage could be a real factor. My concern is, can she stop Kayla Harrison from taking her down? But can she also defend anything on the ground? Like, Kayla can, if Fabian can stop a takedown, God bless. But if she can't defend when the fight is on the floor, it doesn't matter, because Kayla's going to continuously shoot for takedowns. I mean, if Fabian stops 2 out of 3, that's still 1 takedown there. And if it only takes 1, and then Harrison just beats the brakes off of her when she gets on top. This is a concern for me with Fabian's ground game. She's been controlled in the clinch before. I think that it's going to be trickier than people are expecting, maybe, for Kayla Harrison to get on top and get the fight to the floor. I think she will find a way to get it there. Fabian from the southpaw stance, as is Harrison. Will this potentially throw Kayla off at all? Maybe. But I still feel like Kayla Harrison finds a way to win, finds a way on top. I'm thinking second round submission for Kayla Harrison. Fabian will have striking moments, but I don't think she has enough finishing ability to beat Kayla here. Kayla Harrison for the win. She's going to defeat Genah Fabian and move on forward to the finals, where she should be expected to smash whoever it is that she'll be out there matched against. Kayla is a minus 5,000 at worst value, minus 1,677 favorite at better value. Fabian plus 1,840. I mean, maybe a sprinkle bet on Fabian just for fun. $10 can make you a lot. Fabian wins by a decision, plus 3,000. Harrison decision, plus 475. Harrison inside the distance, minus 550. Fabian inside the distance, plus 1,900. Harrison KO TKO, minus 105. No Harrison sub, though. Interesting. Let's check best fight odds. Where's Kayla Harrison at? dude, best fight odds is slacking big time, guys. Like, they're way off. Like, I'm searching for these fights on next week PFL card, man. What are they doing? Like, that's honestly, it's unacceptable in my opinion for you know, a best fight odds site. It says best fight odds, but it's inaccurate odds all the time. Harrison KO TKO plus 100. You can find that at over at DraftKings. So potential plays for sure. I like Kayla Harrison for sure for the W. She'll eventually find a way to beat Genah Fabian, but I do think it's a bit harder than people are expecting, but still going to be a dominant performance by Kayla Harrison. Overall, pretty exciting card for PFL. I am super pumped to be doing a fight companion for it, so make sure you guys tune into that because that's going to be a blast, and that's definitely something you'll want to be in store for, so you can get the vibe for it. But I appreciate you guys all tuning into the show, covering all things MMA here over at MMA Experts. So smash the hell out of that like button, subscribe to the channel, check out the recent videos, this week's best MMA bets, full card predictions every week, full betting breakdowns, fight companions. We're doing it all here, weigh-in recaps, which you're watching now. Thank you guys so much. Much love to everybody who watched the show, and I will see you all in the next video.